When you hear the name Nikola Tesla, you probably think of genius, right? Lightning bolts, a world powered by electricity. But his story is so much more than a list of amazing inventions. It's really about this profound struggle, a battle fought inside one of the most brilliant minds in history, a battle between the perfect, achievable ideal and the spectacular, almost unbelievable illusion. Let's dive into that struggle.
To really get Tesla, you have to start with how completely different he was from his famous rival, Thomas Edison. I mean, you can see it right here. Their methods were polar opposites. Edison was the ultimate tinkerer. He was all about trial and error, building something, watching it fail, and building it again in the real world. But Tesla, he was a pure idealist. His laboratory wasn't a physical place. It was all in his head.
And seriously, he wasn't exaggerating. Just listen to his own words here. He would literally build, run, and fine-tune entire, complex machines right there in his imagination. He could see where they'd wear down, identify points of friction, and fix them, all before a single piece of metal was ever cut. For him, building the actual device was just a formality, kind of like a final check to prove that the ideal he'd already perfected in his mind was in fact perfect.
So here's where we're headed in this explainer. First, we're going to dig a little deeper into this unique idealist method of his. Then we'll see it work its magic with his biggest success, the AC motor. From there, we'll watch how that same method pushed him towards a truly grand illusion. And finally, we'll get to the tragic fall of his Wardencliffe Tower. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, turn on the notification bell, share and like my videos. The information in this presentation is compiled from open sources. Thank you. All right, let's jump in with the moment his method didn't just work, but completely and fundamentally changed civilization. This is where he proved just how powerful a perfectly formed idea could be. We're talking, of course, about the alternating current motor, an invention that was born in his mind and would go on to power pretty much the entire world.
You know, the core idea behind the AC motor was absolutely revolutionary. See, before Tesla, motors had these physical parts called brushes. They were these contacts that would literally spark, wear out, and waste a ton of energy. Tesla's vision was so much more elegant. He imagined a magnetic field that could spin all by itself, almost like a ghost, with no moving parts to create it. He called it the rotating magnetic field, a concept he perfected entirely in his mind.
So how in the world do you sell an invisible, ghost-like force to a bunch of skeptical investors? Well, you put on a show. And this is where Tesla's genius for theater really shines. He came up with this incredible demonstration called the Egg of Columbus. Imagine this. He'd place a copper egg on a simple table, and then, with no visible trick at all, the egg would mysteriously stand up on its end and start spinning. It looked like pure magic, but it was just his rotating magnetic field at work, making his abstract ideal completely, undeniably real.
And the result? Well, it was history-making. The polyphase AC motor was born. It was efficient, it was reliable, and it was incredibly powerful. This invention wasn't just a slightly better motor. It was the key that unlocked our entire modern electrical grid, making it possible to generate power hundreds of miles away and send it all across the country. A perfect ideal, perfectly realized.
Okay, so when you have a success that massive, a success that literally changes the world, what do you do next? If you're Tesla, you turn that same powerful imagination to an idea so vast, so ambitious, that the line between a brilliant ideal and a beautiful illusion starts to get really, really blurry. And you know what? At first, the world was totally on board. When he started demonstrating wireless lighting, making light bulbs glow in his hands with no wires attached, the scientific community was just captivated. I mean, check out this quote from an 1891 journal. You can feel the excitement. People genuinely thought they were witnessing the dawn of a new age, a future of limitless, maybe even free energy. But lighting a few bulbs in a lab, that was just a party trick for Tesla. His real plan was staggering. He wasn't just thinking about sending messages wirelessly, he was talking about transmitting raw power. He envisioned this global system that would use the Earth itself as a massive conductor, pulsating with energy that anyone, anywhere could just tap into. He wanted to literally rewire the planet.
Of course, an idea this huge needs more than just a brilliant mind. It needs cash. A lot of it. And he got it from one of the most powerful men in America, the financier J.P. Morgan. But this right here, this is the critical disconnect. Morgan wasn't investing in some utopian dream of free global energy. No, he was investing in a business, a way to compete with the telegraph cables that were already laid across the Atlantic.
And that massive difference in what they both wanted. It set the stage for the tragic final act of Tesla's greatest project. This is where we get to the construction and the heartbreaking collapse of the Wardencliffe Tower, the physical monument to his grandest dream.
The timeline of how it all fell apart is just stark. Construction kicks off in 1901, but then, damn, just months later, a huge blow. Tesla's rival, Guglielmo Marconi, successfully sends a simple Morse code signal across the ocean. All of a sudden, the practical goal that Morgan cared about seemed like it could be done much cheaper. While Tesla was trying to build a global power utility, Marconi had already won the race for wireless communication. So when Tesla went back and pleaded for more money to finish his true vision, Morgan pulled the plug. The dream was over.
And really, it all boils down to this fundamental conflict. JP Morgan wanted a product he could control and sell, a wireless telegraph service. Tesla envisioned a global utility for all of humanity. Morgan's question was probably simple and absolutely brutal. How do you put a meter on that? And when the answer was, well, that you couldn't, the funding vanished.
Can you just imagine the psychological toll this took on him? I mean, Tesla's entire life, his whole method of invention, was built on this unshakable belief that his mental ideals were infallible, that what he perfected in his mind would work in reality. Wardenclyffe was the first and the most devastating time that his perfectly constructed ideal just shattered against the hard wall of the real world.
So this leaves us with the big question, doesn't it? The AC motor proved his method could produce world-changing ideals. But did that same method, that same boundless confidence, lead him to his ultimate illusion with Wardenclyffe? Was his vision of wireless power a brilliant dream that was just ahead of its time? Or was it a beautiful but flawed fantasy? In the end, Tesla's story is a timeless lesson for any innovator. A brilliant ideal is not enough. To change the world, a vision must also find its footing in the reality of its time.